Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is December 11th and I'm working on a tropical tree outside. An unusual bit of warm weather has blown in this afternoon. It's a high of 13 degrees Celsius, but it's going to drop very quickly in about 4 hours. It'll be back to normal temperatures once again. So I thought I would take this opportunity to repot my very first bonsai, my Ficus microcarpa that I grew from a seed. This tree is planted in a 3D printed pot that Stefan from Germany made. It's a really awesome looking pot. Unfortunately, some of the glue joints have come apart a bit and it's gotten a bit of warpage to it. So my plan is to get the tree out of the pot today, put it in a new pot, and then rebuild this pot, strengthen it up, put an aluminum plate in the bottom, screw it all together so it's nice and solid. Mari and Jerome from the YouTube channel We Are the Bonsai Supply sent me this large plastic pot. It should be a perfect home for my tree, a temporary home until I get the other pot fixed up. The new pot doesn't have any drainage holes, but if I flip it over, you can see where you can drill them out to create all kinds of drainage for this pot. I'll get out the drill and I'll begin today's work. All right, here I go. I've got my biggest drill bit here. We'll see how it works. Well, it doesn't take much to go through there. Yeah, it's just thin those, the plastic goes through really easily. All right, let's flip it over now and see how the holes on. There's a bit of flashing on it. I think I'll get a file and just clean them up a bit. I've got my round file, so I should be able to, yeah, just clean up those holes. Because we had some warm weather coming, I closed the valve on my IBC cube, or my rainwater collection tank, to get a bit of water to top up the barrels once again. And it rained last night, and I'll show you how much water I collected in just one night. Here's the cube, and you can see it went up to almost 500 liters, almost half full in just one night. That's incredible. Or in gallons, I think it's just over 125. That's a lot of water to collect in just one night. I'm amazed. I expected it to be just kind of full down to about here. Okay, that is looking good. I've got the holes in the pot now, so next I've got to get some drainage screens in the bottom and a base layer of soil. All right, the drainage screens are in place. It's time to add a base layer of soil. So here I go. I think that'll be enough. My next step is to get the tree out of the pot. So here I go. Hopefully this will go well. Oh, it's not going to be easy. Okay. My ficus has really grown since I put it in the new 3D printed pot. The top has grown, and I expect the roots have grown quite a bit too. There's roots hanging out the drainage holes in the bottom. I'll show you those. So in here, underneath the pot, there's a lot of roots growing out the drainage holes. I don't think those roots will be stopping the tree from coming out of the pot though. I'll keep trying. Oh, here it comes. It's coming. Okay, let's keep working away here. Come on. It's almost out. I can get this side. There it goes. Okay. That is coming out now. It is out. Whew. Hard work. Okay, I'll take the 3D printed pot away. I let the ficus dry out because I knew I'd be repotting it. It's a lot easier combing out dry soil than wet soil. So let's get to work. Let's start combing out the roots. My first step will be to remove all the moss and then start breaking out the surface soil. This moss grew really well. I just added a bit around the edges and it kind of grew right into the tree. So I'll save it. It can always be used on another bonsai. Maybe even this one again. This tree was just repotted in May, so the soil is really good. It's not, you know, too dense with the roots or anything yet. For this repotting, I want to get my soil level a little thinner so it fits in the new pot better. So I'll be raking away soil from the surface, exposing the roots a little more, and I'll probably take a small layer off the bottom. All right, I'll start combing away the surface here. This was really good soil I planted the tree in. It's half perlite, half safety zorb, and then I put in some of that reptile bark. So I'll probably have the tree a little higher in the pot and the soil kind of, you know, tapering off from higher in the middle to less at the edges, kind of echo that flow of the root base into the soil. That's the plan anyway. All right, I think the soil level is quite close on top. It kind of tapers off nicely. You see that in nature, a big mature tree will have like the soil will lift up around the tree. It's not just perfectly flat usually. And that's just because of the massive roots under the ground kind of lift the tree, and you know, all that volume of roots makes the surface soil kind of expand a bit. Okay, yeah, let's try it out in the pot now. I'm just going to have a look at the bottom of the root base. It looks fine. I'll take away the drainage screens. Oh, and you know what I forgot about? I had a big steel hardware cloth arch in the pot, which will be in the soil here. I've got to get that out. That was one thing I was worried about, is that the roots would grow into that and it'd be really difficult to get it out in future. And I just remembered it's in there. So I've got to get that out. Now, where is it, is the question. There it is. So the roots have grown around it. Oh dear. Yeah, I was worried about that. Here it is right here. You can see the edge of it right there. So it's right in the middle of the root base. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to just comb away all this soil, expose that hardware cloth, and that was to reinforce the pot. I had a feeling the pot might have trouble holding together, and it certainly did have a lot of trouble. Definitely needs some steel reinforcing. Now, can I get this out? Oh yeah, it's coming out. See that? That's good. Come on. There it goes. So there's that hardware cloth I had in there. Glad to get that out. All right, I can reuse all this soil here because it's in really good shape. Just get all my drainage screens out of the way. Like that. I won't put it in with my bin of new soil, but I'll certainly keep it. I'll reuse one of my bags of safety Zorb. I can just put all the soil in there. Like that. And this soil is good for starting seedlings or, you know, trees that are early in the development and don't need the really top quality soil. I mean, it's top quality, it's just being used a bit. It's got a few roots mixed in with it. Okay. I am ready now to put the tree in the pot. All right, here I go. So here's an initial look at it in the pot. You can see the soil is quite high compared to the pot, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'll take some more soil off the bottom and maybe taper that top in even more. You can see it doesn't really, it should flow from the edge of the root base down to the lip of the pot. So I'll work on that. I'll tilt the tree off the edge of the table so I don't damage any branches, and then I can come in underneath and comb away some of the soil. Like that. And I think I'll do a little bit of root pruning too, just to flatten the root base out underneath here. Got my blue scissors, so here I go. So that's a little better. All right, I'll try the tree in the pot once again. All right, here I go. Somewhere around there. That's getting much flatter in the pot. That's looking quite good. There's a look at the tree in the pot now. So I think that height is quite good. I think it's at a good level. I can taper out the soil more at the edges. All right, I'll work on tapering this root base into the pot, getting it at a nice level. You can hear the winds of change in the air. That's the cold weather blowing in. So these roots are coming out really nicely. When you develop a root base, always make sure your roots aren't going horizontal with the edge of the pot. They've always got to flow down into the soil. That way, as the tree gets larger and matures, you can raise it up and they always flow down into the soil. They don't go horizontal. Well, that's starting to look pretty good. I'll show you a view from the front again. Here's a view kind of looking down at the tree. So I'll go down even lower and show you a front view. There's a look from the front view. So I think that's quite nice. I think it looks quite at home in the pot. Yeah. All right, I'll start filling it in with soil now. All right, here I go. Oh, those winds are just howling. Now I've just got to kind of contour the soil a bit more. I think I have to add a bit more soil just so it flows in a little better. A little around the front here, just so there's not that step. Right now you can see a bit of a transitional point there. Got to blend that in more. I'm down at eye level looking at my soil contours. They're not bad. Maybe I'm a little heavy right here. Yep. How's that looking? That's looking pretty good, I think. Maybe just a little more off here. Okay, I'm liking that now. That's looking really good. My next step, I've got to water the tree. I've got nice fresh rainwater from the cube. I'll start with the gentle spray. So here I go. Just to give it a good, wet it all down. My nozzle's clogging a bit. Usually after a rain, the water in the cube hasn't, all the particles haven't settled out of it. So it's kind of mixed. And you get a lot of clogging with the fine nozzle. But I think that's wet it down enough. I can switch to my medium nozzle now. So here I go. Oh yeah, that's nice. Nice flow. I have never worked on a tropical tree outside in the middle of December. This is really strange. So I think that repotting went really well. It's in a nice big pot. Those roots can really stretch out and grow. There's plenty of soil volume in there for the tree to really grow strongly. Yeah, it's undergone a lot of repotting this year. I think it's like the third repot in under a year. Now, these aren't real repots. Like, once this tree gets established in this pot and grows really strongly, I'll have to go through all the roots and thoroughly comb them out, bare root it, really examine the root structure and give it a really thorough root pruning. But that'll come in the future. I'm going to go into the canopy now. I noticed there's a lot of older leaves that have kind of gone yellow, so I'll just clean it out before I put the tree back in the plant room. I'm going to see how heavy the tree is in the pot now. In that 3D printed pot, it was quite heavy. There was a lot of soil volume, the tree's heavy, the pot is fairly heavy. Not as heavy as if it were a clay pot, but... So here I go. It's quite light, it's easy to manage. I'm all done the work on my Ficus microcarpa, my very first bonsai that I grew from a seed 30 years ago. This is the tree that got me into bonsai. It was a total accident. Wow, I can't believe it's been 30 years and it's gone from a little seed that germinated to something that's starting to look like a mature tropical tree. It has a long way to go. I've got a lot of work to do in the upper canopy, all the branch structure and that, getting it finer ramification, getting my branches sorted out more. There's a lot of work to go, but yeah, it's been a great journey so far. The old pot here is still quite solid. I think what I'll have to do is get an aluminum plate for the bottom, and then I can screw all these pieces to the aluminum plate. And any that are warped, I think I can straighten them out with a bit of heat. Maybe. If not, you know, I've just got to fix where they've separated here. So I'll have to take it apart. It'll be a big project for the winter, but I definitely want to get it done. I really like this pot. That wind you hear is blowing in cold weather and rain this afternoon. The temperature is going to drop dramatically. So I got my tree repotted just in time. Outdoors in the middle of December. I would have never guessed that. So I'll get it inside to the plant room, and that will be all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.